what is the best vacation that you've never taken?
Oh, let's go. I want to go to Italy so bad.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I want the romance. I
Sure.
want the pasta. I want it all.
Yeah.
The question is, do you bring the kids or not?
Welcome to Owner's Table, where today we talk to Rachel Awtrey. Now, Rachel Awtrey is a good friend of mine who lives here in Birmingham. She's moved a little bit from South Carolina, and how her journey, as this sounds crazy, but how her journey as an influencer has carried her and created wealth for her and her family. She started out when she was single, started out with a small podcast, and her podcast has grown exponentially till she now has a sponsor for her podcast that is a name that you will all recognize. How her and her husband Thomas are managing life as a pilot. He's a pilot and flying all over the world, and now has not one but two kids and managing her thriving business. I know you're going to enjoy hearing Rachel. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. So our guest today is a young lady. I say young lady like I'm 60. Is a young lady that I've known for probably the last 4 or 5 years. Done some business together when we started Table and Time. Just been a part of the things we've done. She has, since then, life has dramatically changed.
Yes.
So multiple babies, wonderful husband, and just a lot of different things have happened in the last 4 or 5 years. So my guest, Rachel Awtrey, is just such an amazing lady. And I'm so happy to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor
Awesome.
to be able to be on this side of the microphone.
It is different. Okay.
It's wild.
So Rachel has a podcast called Real Talk. So give me an idea of what that is, and then we'll kind of start from the today, and then work backwards from there.
Sounds
Tell
great.
me about that.
So today, Real Talk with Rach, Real Talk with Rachel Awtrey, whatever you want to call it, is a show. Every week, every Wednesday, we go live, and we just share everything from jeans to Jesus, pop culture, playlists, everything in between, the good and the grief. We saw a need for there to be uplifting, but yet practical conversation for women that could be entertaining. So whether you are doing the baby thing and washing dishes at the kitchen sink, or commuting to your corporate job, or a student, we really wanted to feel a need to be fun and fresh, but clean, entertainment driven, but also you walk away with a few practicals. And so we are faith-based, but not every show is around a certain theological topic. So like I said, jeans to Jesus, everything in between.
So tell me about the audience. So let's talk about today.
Okay.
So if someone's listening today, who are the people out there that can benefit from our conversation?
Yes, it's going to be your women. It's going to be the girls. But also, I feel like it could also be men championing women in their lives too. If you look at our analytics.
Go back to this. Men championing our women. Tell me what that means, because people are out there go, what is the word championing?
Sure.
Tell me that.
Yes, this is also for the husbands, the brothers, the boyfriends, fiancés, or whoever that are interested in how to love and serve and cheerlead their women on in their life, and whatever that looks like, whether it's in motherhood and ministry, in the workplace, in their marriage.
Sure.
Yes. If you want a girl's perspective that is clean, fun, and practical, we are your go-to.
Okay. So let's work backwards from here. So tell me about growing up. So now you've got your own podcast. You're doing things that around the content creation media world, which you're a business owner because you got to manage this stuff.
That's right.
You got to make money.
That's right.
So tell me about how you grew up. Where are you from? How'd you grow up? Just give me some backgrounds. This is what Rachel was as a kid.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Grew up in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
If anyone's from Columbia, it's technically Irmo, but we round up. We round up to Columbia.
Exactly.
Small town with two great parents. I say I grew up in a VeggieTales household. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
it was if you're not watching MTV, you're watching VeggieTales.
That's totally right. You're one or the other.
Yeah.
We grew up in a VeggieTales household, prayed over our meals, supported ministries, prayed for our ministries who supported, like a great foundation for, I feel like, where my faith is today. I have two biological brothers.
Okay.
Today I have 4 brothers, which we might get there. Sure. 2 biological brothers, Hamilton and Landon, great people, really fun to grow up with. When I was younger, I met Jesus through a conversation with my dad in a hospital room. Okay. My dad, as far as I remember him growing up, was super sick. He had kidney failure and he was on a transplant list for a while. Yeah. And just God's mercy, like we found a transplant donor very last minute.
Wow.
And he explained this whole idea that because Miss Judy gave her kidney for me, I'm able to live my life abundantly and I don't have to be sick in bed doing dialysis anymore. Yeah. And that's what Jesus did for you, except he didn't give an organ.
He gave his life.
He gave his life.
Awesome.
And I'm like, wow, that's really cool.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
So tell me about your parents. What did your parents do?
Yes. Dad, financial advisor.
Okay.
Owned his own firm. Very entrepreneurial.
Okay.
So I grew up, I was a lemonade stand girl.
Yeah.
But my dad explained to me like, okay, now here are their proceeds. This is your profit. And this is what you owe your mom back. And this is what you owe the rent for the table in the neighborhood that you've set up. And I'm like, whoa, Dad,
this is the portion you have to save because you're going to go buy lemonade next week.
Right. Yeah. He's like, if you're going to do this again, you need to set this aside. Like I understood it from a very
man after my own heart.
Yes. Like 6 years old kind of thing.
That's great.
I'm like, Dad, give me my money.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell some lemonade. Yeah. But I think that planted a huge entrepreneurial spirit in my own heart growing up because I saw it. Yeah. Mom was a teacher, left the classroom to raise my brothers and I, stay-at-home mom situation. Loved it. Really, truly a charming childhood is what I would say.
All I hear is Leave It to Beaver.
Truly.
That's all I hear.
Yes,
so
until high school.
Know who Leave It to Beaver is. Just Google it or YouTube it. That's the only way you're going to find it.
Yes.
So sounds like just a wonderful home growing up. So childhood, dad's a financial advisor. Mom stays at home at this point. We're going through high school. What were you like in middle school and high school? Yeah,
middle school, high school, I was your student council girlly. Student body president.
Miss Popular. Okay.
No, I played a few sports. I loved being involved. I had a really great friend group. My junior year of high school, this is why I say things changed. I was your typical A-B honor roll kind of girl. And if anyone, like when I would sit in church or youth group and people were talking about, God, it's going to save you from your sins. I was a girl that really wrestled with the pride and self-righteousness, being like, I don't have things I need to be forgiven for. I'm
not sinning.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't really mess up here. You know what I mean? And I didn't have false.
Hopefully things have changed with our husband sitting in the room.
That's what I say. We have been sanctified. Okay,
exactly.
Like we have been through a process since that day. Yeah. I really wrestled with, I don't understand what it is I need to be like saved from. This life as I know it is fine. Funny enough, just prayed and was like, Lord, that if there's anything in me, like rid me of it. And he took me on a very incredible journey that I feel like I'm still going on since that prayer. My dad passed away in a rock climbing accident really randomly one day on January 2nd when I was a junior in high school.
Oh my gosh.
And it was neat hindsight looking back because a gift that God would give him the extra years since we had already kind of grieved and coped and come up with this idea that we wouldn't live life with Dad since the kidney transplant. But because he had that and it saved his life for those extra 8 years, he was able to live here on earth. He did it abundant. He did the John 10:10, like ran Ironmans, race cars, traveled the world, the Live Like You're Dying song.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Him. Yeah,
Man,
and
awesome.
Then passed away in a random accident. I took that as my excuse to grieve however I wanted to. So any question I had about life, I thought, I've been given a wild card, right? Yeah. Like everyone's expecting me to be the crazy girl now. Like I'm the girl whose dad died in a small town. Everyone knows. So I'm just going to go and do it. And I did it. I partied hard. Yes. I had boyfriends. I made all the bad decisions. To a point where I got low and realized this is not all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. You got to wake up every morning and go, what have I just freaking done?
Yeah. And is this who I want to be?
Yeah,
and knowing I was also setting a legacy and the people around me were the people doing the same things as me. And is that who I want to spend my time with? And but that's not fair because that's who I am too.
Right.
So it was just a tricky little corner of life that I felt stuck in.
So in that time, Dad's passed away. So in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, you're starting to formulate in your mind, most people, especially being raised in the South.
That's right.
Great parents. The question of what do you want to be when you grow up?
Sure.
What was the answer to that question when someone asked you?
It was always different.
Was it? Okay.
There's the entrepreneurial spirit, right? I'm like, I want to be a business owner.
Okay,
I was like,
you did think that.
Yeah, or I was like, I want to be in PR. Loved marketing. Loved like making things beautiful and big. That's what I really wanted to do. Okay.
So post high school, where did your journey go?
Post high school took me to Clemson University. It was the only in-state school I applied to. And I was supposed to go to Auburn. We're Eagle.
Really?
Did not, just because some crazy family things started unfolding after Dad died. Went to Clemson, loved it, thrived, met great people.
What year was this?
When
you went to Clemson?
The year I went to Clemson. That was 2013.
Oh, okay. We were long ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were at NC State at 05 and 06. And so we played down there.
Yes.
So that was a long before that.
The ACC.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Okay. I went to Clemson. My husband and we actually are high school sweethearts. So super sweet that he grew up knowing my dad too. And he's able to keep that legacy alive for me. But when all this was happening, we actually were broken up. We claim high school sweethearts, but we were broken up for about 2 years. When
we were on a break.
We were on a break.
So was he with you when you were doing all the crazy stuff?
No, but he was hearing about all the crazy stuff and was like, no way. Rachel McAfee is doing that, which is my maiden name. It's like, no way, that's her. Yes way. Went to Clemson, still continue those behaviors. My freshman year of Clemson is when I really wrestled with what does freedom look like and is this it? And honestly, it came from a lot of the accountability Thomas held me to. So we became friends again my freshman year of college, and he, without saying this, kind of said it and was like, I know who you're supposed to be and this isn't it. So when you want to be that girl, you let me know because I feel like I have a life with her. So somehow, some way it's going to get worked out. But you're her and I'm not sure how it's going to work, but you let me know when you want to show up. And it was the first time I feel like a man, besides my dad, had spoken life into me instead of encouraged bad behavior, which really got my attention. Like, wait, so you're saying you don't want to benefit from this? Like, okay, well, that's interesting. It made me lean in and really trust him. And he said, take a chance on me. And I did. Fast forward, I'm married with 2 kids. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So in the college life, growing up, you didn't really know what you want to do, business owner or whatever.
Sure.
PR. What did you go to school for?
I went to school for communications.
So leading into school, did you graduate?
Yes.
Okay. When you graduated, where did your journey take you from there?
Graduated, we got married very quickly. It was like bing, bang, boom. Like graduation, marriage, moved, all the things. My husband took a job with JH Ranch, which moved us to Birmingham.
I did not know that.
Yes. Okay, yes, he was their activities director, all things adventure.
Right.
Which remember...
Activities director, that's got to be the greatest job ever.
It was. It was like whitewater rafting, bikes, ropes courses, all the things. And remember, my dad passed away in a rock climbing accident. So I was faced with my fear of adventure, of risk, of hanging from the sky with ropes.
No doubt.
Like, this is crazy. But God took me on a healing journey and really used that to do big work internally. Because he was there on full-time staff, I was not. This is the tricky part about JH. It really confuses people. The property is in California. But the headquarters are here in Birmingham.
Okay, why is that?
It's a long story. It's the way that the people that started JH Ranch.
So the people that started JH Ranch, are they here in Birmingham? Okay, but they have the property in California.
It's a man who married a Birmingham girl. The Birmingham girl's parents said, don't take her away. He was like, okay. So they did both.
Got it. Makes sense.
SparkNotes version.
Yeah. SparkNotes version. Okay, so y'all moved to Birmingham.
Yes.
What are you doing though? Do you have a job or you stay at home?
I have a job. I worked retail. Just to try to figure out what this was going to be. We also thought our Birmingham season would just be a short stint, like a fun little adventure before we started our real life. Didn't know really what we were signing up for, that we would love Birmingham and choose to stay.
And what year was that? So 17,
2016.
18? 16. Okay, so right before
graduated early.
So we moved in, so that is fast. So we moved here in late 17, so you guys got here in 16.
Beat ya.
You did. Okay. So you're here, he's at JH Ranch, you're working retail.
Yes.
From there, what?
Really kind of started wrestling with like, what do I want to do? Thomas also started having this quarter life crisis that he wanted to be a pilot.
I know.
So things just started like pivoting and changing. And I felt like the little plates that we thought were very much secure started just like shaking apart, and not in a bad way, but just like we could really lean in here and ask God, like, what does this look like? And it either is messy and complicated and chaotic, which it is. And I think honestly, life saying yes to Jesus oftentimes is, but it also is beautiful and fun and like this adventure to chase. So we were in Birmingham, decided to be a pilot, My husband also has been in the military for a while.
Yep.
He enlisted straight out of high school, like 17-year-old Air Force guy. Was a mechanic, was a crew chief on fighter jets, and decided I want to be in the cockpit, not under the plane.
Sure.
So we went on this big journey. Meanwhile, he's doing all of this. I'm also asking these questions. Like, if Thomas is going for it, it quite inspires me to go for it. So what do I want to do? Which enter in what I do today, which is the podcast world. Online encouragement is what I say, because we do it on lots of platforms. Podcast is one of the
one of them
million
where it starts.
Sure.
So for, like, what was the first step into that? This is what I want to do. So, like, you go from retail to, like, the practical steps. If I went from working at retail to doing, what did you go into, like?
You know, it's so funny. I didn't know I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I had a friend ask me to do it with her. Yes. So I had a friend, I still have a friend. Her name is Mary Scott Mercer.
Okay.
She, her husband was deployed. My husband, not deployed, but was very much like working long days at JH Ranch. We both felt very purposeless. Like, there's got to be something here for us. Sure. We have cool stories, cool friends with cool stories. We've got resources. We're both creative, systems minded. Like, let's do something. And she's like, let's start a podcast.
And this was in 16, 17?
Yes. Podcasts were not, this was 17.
They were there, but they weren't as I mean, they've grown in popularity.
Yes. They were your
then.
churches putting sermons on podcast platforms so people could listen later.
Joe Rogan.
Right. Or they were crime junkies and like storytelling type podcasts, but there were none like entertainment. There were, but they weren't any like clean, fun, faith-based entertainment shows. So we were like, let's start it. Let's do it. We saw the need. We wanted the show to exist. So we made the show exist as a summer project. Okay. We said 10 episodes, get us through the summer, into the fall. And just never felt like we needed to give it up. We just kept going.
So is she on there with you now?
Not anymore. Okay.
So tell me, so from 17, how is it, because the journey's kind of.
I know. Right.
Yeah.
As
so
it does.
What's it done since then?
So we got to a point where the podcast had grown to a point where we needed to start like filing taxes, talking business.
Okay,
like,
let's stop.
Yes.
So when you say that, because people, even this day and age,
sure,
there are thousands of podcasts out there. It's a little more complicated than blogging. How are you making money? Because that's the big question that people say.
Yeah.
You're sitting here talking to somebody, how does that make money? So tell me, even in 17, which is 7 years ago, how are you guys making money doing this?
We had small
taxes.
Right. So we had small ads on the show. We started hosting events. That was the main one. We hosted events and we started selling apparel.
Okay. Ads on the show. So
just like small businesses, like
local
Etsy
businesses,
shops,
Etsy shops. Okay.
Small people that were like, oh, I've loved listening to your show. I have this thing coming up. Would you mind saying something like as an ad? And we're like, this could work.
And and they'd pay you.
They pay us to have a running ad on the show.
And then talk about it. Whatever. Use it. Okay. In that. So tell me how the podcasting and I have a personal brand question here later on, but tell me how the podcasting played alongside what you were doing on your social media platforms.
Yes.
So let's talk through that and how those got weaved in and out.
Also, social media at this time, I was doing not necessarily full time, but it was a great fun project for me to have. And that started just by organically posting wedding videos, wedding photos, just life as we knew it, because living at JH Ranch was so interesting. We were living in a trailer or a tiny home. We were driving a 4-wheeler to work. My husband worked on ropes courses. I was like fun to follow. Do you know what I mean?
So you went out there.
Yes.
How long all summer?
Yeah, we went spring to fall basically, and then we lived here fall, winter, early spring. Moved back out there.
So 6 and 6, 6 months and 6 months.
It was like 7-5.
7-5, 7 out there. 7 out there.
5 out there, 7 here.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that part of your journey.
Yes.
Okay.
And we did that for about 4 years.
Wow. So you're still doing, are you doing the podcast even back and forth? So you are doing it remotely?
Yes.
Doing it remote before remote was cool.
That's right.
Okay. So you're doing social media.
And social media was fun. Like that.
Were you making any money on social?
Barely.
Okay.
It's like an online scrapbook for me. I'd do it even if I wasn't making money.
Yeah.
But it was fun because the podcast gave me an audio version to what I felt like I was already doing.
Yeah. Were you cross-promoting, cross-pollinating?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
So.
But it did feel very separate because remember, I started this with a friend.
Yeah.
It's called Behind the Bliss at this point.
Yep.
And it was not a Rachel thing.
Yeah.
It was a Rachel and Mary Scott thing. So I didn't really have the permission to claim it 100% mine until we grew to a point and my friend was like, listen, I love this. It makes sense for you. I had no clue this is what it was going to turn into. Be blessed. Like, have it. Got to go.
So tell me at this point, just raw numbers, tell me at this point, what are you guys making a year doing podcasting?
Still small.
Yeah.
Still small. It was probably like $20K.
$20,000 a year.
Max.
But still.
But that wasn't just from podcast either. It was a lot of things going into one pot, if that makes sense.
So tell me about the events portion, because that's interesting because you hear, so like there's a podcast called it's called My First Million.
Okay.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
It's two guys. One guy had a newsletter company, sold it for $20 million. Another guy had another company, had a merger. He sold it for a lot of money. It is two dudes talking.
Yeah.
I love it because they'll talk for an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a guest, sometimes they won't. And they just talk about stuff that's going on. Now they're like 3 times a week, but they just sit in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And one of them's in New York, one of them's in like San Francisco or Austin.
Yeah.
And they just talk. And they do events. So tell me what you guys were doing as far as events are concerned. The number one question is why? Why were you doing events?
Yeah. So the difference between podcast world and your typical social media world, people have platforms. They also have profiles. You can see their profile picture. Someone follows me to this day. I'll still sometimes go to their account and be like, oh, cute dog. Oh, she just got married. Like, I like to know who's following me. Podcasts, you don't know. You get IP addresses and you get location. You don't know a face, a name, you don't know these things.
Right.
And the event section really felt like an authentic way to get to know our people and connect with them, which served them just as much as it served us. We needed that.
Yeah.
So we did. We hosted our first event in Birmingham. We opened it up to 60 people. It sold out like within 20 minutes. And we were like, wow, there's actually people out there.
So people are listening and you said, we're going to do an event. What are you doing an event at? Is it just, hey, come meet everybody and meet a community of people?
Yes. And we also recorded a live podcast there.
Great. Now,
so fun.
How long? So listen, you will find out that I'm extremely technical.
Okay.
Like, I want to know the practical.
Great.
That's who I am.
Yes.
So tell me how long you did the podcast, because listen, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
So like the guy that I interviewed 2 times ago is 55 and he owns an auction company, and the guy's just a stud of a human being.
Wow. Cool.
Had no clue about any of this world. Whereas this is your world.
This is my
world. So tell me, like, how many episodes did you guys get into before you said, let's do an event?
We had hit a year and it was still going. We had hit a year, it was still going. And we hadn't really looked at insights, numbers, analytics. That was neither of our worlds.
It's very hard. So I found this out. I talked to my team.
Yeah.
Podcast metrics.
The worst.
Freaking horrible.
Yeah.
You can look at YouTube and see so many
plays,
things.
downloads, share, yes.
Listen, you can't tell nothing.
I know.
On Spotify or Apple. So if somebody's out there, they want to improve this crap, do it.
Yeah.
It's a job for you.
We pull it from our host site, our RSS feed,
Yeah.
where the podcast is. It gives us good ideas.
Right.
But yeah, we didn't really know those numbers, but we saw the traction we were getting online, the tags that we were getting, the people that were emailing us, and we were like, wait, people are listening to this. Let's go ahead and host it and just see who they are. Hosted the event. They came. We had women coming from Louisiana, Arkansas, Florida, everywhere, to Birmingham to come hang out with us for a night. And it was a blast, Thomas. We had so much fun. So we're like, let's do that again. We didn't plan another one before Mary Scott left. So there's all that. We had more after Mary Scott left, but until then we had that one that we did together. Yes.
Okay. So here's the other nerdy technical part.
Sure.
So it's you and Mary Scott. Is there anybody else, or is it just y'all? Whether it be 2 iPhones or a computer or how did y'all?
Computer, 2 cute microphones from Amazon. Me and her. She's in South Carolina and I'm in Alabama, and we recorded virtually with our virtual guests. I went to school for communications, but my senior thesis was actually a project that our professor said, work with an Adobe system, like Adobe Creative Suite is what people use to do graphic design, audio design, all the things. She said, pick an Adobe software that you feel like you won't use in your career.
Won't?
won't, just so that you can challenge yourself.
Okay.
And get to know something that you're uncomfortable with. I chose Adobe Audition, which is sound engineering. And I did a news program.
Okay.
And I learned Adobe Audition, not knowing I would ever have a podcast.
That's
so
incredible.
I was your editing, scheduling, producing queen. And Mary Scott was very much like the systems, the emails, the things like the admin. And it worked. And so it was just us two. So
just you two, you've got this, you do the event. It's an extreme success. 60 people. Where was the event?
It was at a small studio in Cahaba Heights, no longer exists.
Okay. So you do this event. What did that do to you? Was that encouraging? Was it
Yes.
did it light a fire? Like,
It lit
oh my gosh,
a
we can do
fire.
so many things from here. Like, tell me what the next thought was.
It lit a fire. And I think honestly, it was because when you're recording behind a microphone, it's me and you right now, right?
Sure.
When you're recording solo shows, it's just you. You're not speaking to a person, or you don't really know where this is going to land, how it's going to land with them, what they're personally walking through to know even what message they need to hear at that moment. This event gave me the fire under my tush to be like, no, I'm recording for Sarah. I'm recording for Natalia. I'm recording for whoever. So when
the girl from Louisiana,
that drove, that is our loyal girl, pushes play every Wednesday morning, like them.
Right.
And so it almost kept me accountable and stripped me of my pride to realize like, this isn't about me. This isn't about being heard. This is about speaking to someone and encouraging them where they are.
Yeah.
And so I just felt this new responsibility. Like, this isn't mine to give up.
Wow.
And Mary Scott was like, this is mine to give up. Like, this needs to go further, bigger, better. And if this is Rachel's calling, and where she saw me as a friend, she's like, I see your direction. I don't know if you see it, but I have vision for you, and this makes sense. So I'm going to bow out, bless you, and champion you from afar. We're 100% best friends now. We don't have to share anything. We can just be friends.
So when she transitioned out of there, what happened there? How did you
friendship wise?
No. From a podcast standpoint.
Oh, hot mess. I mean, she carried all the systems. So it kind of...
That's a super fancy word, and people say that all the time.
She carried scheduling. She carried growth. She carried...
Growth. What do you mean growth?
Strategy.
Okay.
Like, okay, so we record a podcast, and I felt like I would wing it from there. But she's like, here's our systems of operation. Here's how we do it. Here's how it falls through. So that if any one of us moves, changes, needs help, someone else can come in and understand how to pick it up with us. I was not that girl. Mary Scott was. So when Mary Scott left, me not being the systems girl, I was a little bit lost and felt like I was winging it. Hired some part-time help, remote. It worked for a season. We never hired like long-term. We just hired because I needed help at that moment. Part-time, hourly situation. She was great. Her life moved on. Our life started picking up too. This is enter in Thomas's Air Force career, becoming a pilot, moving around a ton, having babies, like all these things that just life started getting complicated. The podcast felt complicated, but I still never felt like I needed to walk away. So just continue to pray for help. Today we have a whole team. Thomas is very on board. He helps a ton with negotiation and strategy. And honestly, he's my cheerleader. Like, you just need that person on your team. We have a girl named Emily Rowlett. She's in Katy, Texas. She is our in-house marketing communications girl. She helps.
What does she do?
She helps.
Tactically every day, what does she do?
She's admin for emails. She helps schedule guests on the show, get them all figured out, scheduling logistics, things like that. She does email newsletters and all of our marketing, like online things. She is also visionary. So we are going through a really fun, big rebrand situation. She's helped with launch team, knowing logistics, knowing what our list looks like as far as changing cover photo, title. I mean, she really does everything.
Okay.
So when you're like, what does she do? I'm like, it's easier to tell me what she doesn't do.
So you got those two. You got Thomas and you got
Thomas,
the girl in Katy,
Emily.
Texas. Okay.
We have Kate and Philip with a podcast management team in Nashville. They do all of our editing, scheduling, and producing. So helpful.
So editing, scheduling, producing. So what you do, I
sit behind a microphone.
Get pretty.
I
sit
upload
in front
it,
of it, and you push up a couple buttons and upload it.
And the next day it's scheduled, it comes out, and I can trust my people. It's wild.
Okay. Are you on any video right now? Are you doing video?
We are doing short video, like Reels form, but no long video.
Are you just cutting them out of the podcast and doing that?
Yes.
How many are you getting out of each podcast?
1.
One?
Yeah. Thomas, I know this is where the growth happens. We were speaking before recording about this is our room for growth. And if we have in the past year, our listenership has grown 88%.
Okay. So where are you at from a listenership standpoint now?
About to hit 2 million downloads.
Total from the 5 years?
From 5 years, technically 4.5. Yes.
4.5 years, 2 million downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got 47 questions right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back.
Sure.
Behind the Bliss, Mary Kate leaves.
Mary Scott.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good.
Mary Scott leaves. Where does it transition from there? I know you said the systems, you had the girl come in and help.
Yeah.
But like, did you just continue on every week doing it? How did the dynamic, like, what did you change now that you don't have this person with you?
Yeah. We relied a lot on interview type shows because it was less mind work and the content was provided by these incredible women that were coming on sharing their own wisdom. I never felt like I needed to be an expert. I was the girl that was hungry for growth, just like my listeners. And I just was the girl that took the microphone to ask the questions everyone was asking.
Gotcha.
In their mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. So you do Behind the Bliss. There's a lot of things that happen. We'll get to those. You have a couple kids. You know, Thomas is flying around. He's traveling for work. He's all this stuff. The steady, the slow, I say monotonous, not in a negative way.
No, I
the
get
slow,
it. The mundane,
the mundane.
Yes.
You have to be fine with mundanity. You have to be in order to grow. So you've done this for 5 years now.
Yeah.
What's made, just talk about the transition of the branding change, the name, all those things. Tell me why that happened, why you're doing that.
Okay, there's two ways I can go with this. I can tell you the heart reason and why it makes sense for vision, and I could tell you the strategy reason. Strategy. So the neat thing about our podcast, I'd say 85% of our shows are interview based. The 15% shows that are solo are people's favorites, but we love to have on other women that are wiser, older, get it.
Okay, let me stop.
Yes.
Why then, if the 15%, the small section, why are you not doing more of those if that's what people want?
Yes, and that's why a lot of things are changing.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why a lot of things are changing. We are realizing that we are a personality show. Anyone could say what I'm saying, but it doesn't land the same. And I'm not like raising myself or patting myself on the back, but like I've always been the girl that will be awkward first. I've always, even in my friend group, I'm the girl to break the ice. I can
get up there and do karaoke first.
I am that girl.
Yes.
I can read the room. I can be like, this is funky. Let me tell a story. You know what I mean? Like I've been that girl, and I can be in a space, even virtual, even behind a microphone, and know like no one's talking about marital sex when you're starting out married first. No one's talking about postpartum anxiety and how hard the transition from 1 to 2 can be. No one's talking about this. And partly like it's no fun to listen to, which is why no one's talking about it. Well, not no fun, but you know what I mean? Like it's intimidating to go for it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to do it perfect. So I think part of me felt like I need to have someone else on the show that can speak to this better than I can because I'm just experiencing it. I'm not an expert in it. Yeah. But now I do feel like people don't need the expert advice. They just need the person to sit next to them, hug them, be like, yeah, me too.
This is what happened to me and it sucks. Yes.
And here's how I'm working through it. Or here's the questions I still have. And here's the resources that have been helping me along the way. And I'm realizing now I don't need to have it figured out for people to be curious and lean in with me. I think we just need people that are willing to bring what's in the dark out to invite people to speak to it or whatever. So sometimes there are going to be the experts because I'm interested in those conversations. Sure. But the people want the solo shows. They love it when Thomas comes on. They love just hearing like us be silly and funky and just, I think what people desire now is different than what people desired 5 years ago.
I agree with that.
Culture wise, just in the world. And I think people are really craving companionship and knowing that, especially in motherhood, companionship could be tough. Nap times don't line up or whatever. Like
you feel alone
play dates
a lot
are
of
tough.
times.
Yes. And so I am happy to be that girl. And I feel like my audience has grown up with me. 5 years ago, we were all starting to get married, all getting engaged.
The topics changed.
Now, not all of us, but a lot of us are married, have kids, have had multiples, have moved, have had friendship breakups, are starting careers or figuring out this is not what I want to do as a career. We're all in a similar stage where we've all grown since 5 years ago. So I'm able to like speak to that girl who's listening who is also a mom of 2 with a husband that's doing the dang thing.
Yeah.
And we're all just trying to do it together. Companionship.
Sure. So what are the strategy reasons for the branding change?
Yes. So the guests that we did have on the show have been incredible. I mean, we've had some of my faith heroes on the show. I cannot even believe I've sat behind the microphone and chat with.
Yeah.
And those people have come to us through publishing houses and agencies where they've written a book or they're coming out with a new song or they have a new project, and their agent reaches out to a media list, TV shows, radio, podcasts. We're on that list somehow, some way.
How did you get on the list?
Favor of God. Truly still don't have an answer. We got this random email one day from a publishing house, and Thomas Nelson, and they said, here's all of our spring books that are coming out and all of our authors. We'd love for one or all of them to be on your show. Let us know what you're interested in. And these were people like Stacey Eldridge.
John Eldridge's wife?
John Eldridge's wife. I'm trying to think of people.
You mentioned Carrie Job earlier.
Emily P. Freeman. Carrie Job has been on our show too. Ellie Holcomb, Kathy Lee Gifford, just like random big people. I was like, this is spam. There's no way this is legit, right? I was like, who, me?
This is from China.
Yeah, I was like, man, they did not get the right email.
Thomas, do not put our credit card in there.
Yeah. I'm like, they had a typo in their email and we just happened to get it or something like that. When in reality, though, they wanted us. And so I have had now really cool relationships with publishing houses and agencies, and have had several publicists, like literary agents, come to me and been like, if you ever want to be on this side of things, you just let me know when. And so I've had a message and a girl on my heart for a while, and have been given opportunity, and strategists have said, if you want to do this excellently, you want to do this well, we need you to like come out from behind the curtain. You're no longer behind the bliss. You're Rachel Awtrey. So like, how can you be confident in that and the gifts God's given you and not hide behind another name or whatever, and be okay being a personality and being an introduction to what maybe God has for other people.
Who said that? Who told you that? And if you don't have to tell me a name, that's fine, but just a random girl, like a girl.
Several people. Yeah. So we have someone that we really admire and trust in this world, and went to her kind of
in the podcast world or the media world?
Podcast, media, publishing, all of it. She kind of dabbles in it all, and was like, hey, if we're going to take this approach and do it well, do it excellently, do it long term, what does this look like? Like, just tear us to shreds. Sure. Like, what are we doing? What are we not doing? And she was the one that gave us a good list of, you need to change your name. If you don't want your book or whatever project you ever work on in the future to be called Behind the Bliss, now's the time you got to change it before you start introducing yourself and having these conversations and book proposals, because you don't want to be the girl that's changing things. You want to be the consistent, the showing up on purpose. You're confident. They want that. Yeah. And that's the tricky part about the media world is you are you, but you're also selling you. Yeah. And it is a ministry. It's also a business. And so when they intersect, it feels super icky and cringy. And that's a hard thing I'm working through.
Why does it feel icky and cringy?
That's a hard thing I'm working through. I think I grew up in a evangelical culture, and it's not a parent's thing. I think it was totally a timing thing where it was like, serve, don't be served. Like the first will be last and the last will be first and all these things. And so it was humble, and it was the right thing to do, to step aside and it not be about you. And I think that now what we're realizing, I'll say this, now what I'm realizing is there's nothing wrong with being confident in your calling and nothing wrong with magnifying God. And sometimes in order to magnify God, you have to be the person to step up and ask a question, and hold a microphone and lead people that are craving to be led. And we, like, every stage needs that person. Every world needs that girl. And so why not me?
Well, here's the thing I think of, and this is the encouragement that just came in my heart.
Sure.
Is you've made reference to a handful of times since we've been talking about a clean, life-giving, positive platform.
Yes.
There are tons of platforms and people out there.
That's right. That
say and do things that are really just not life-giving. And when you leave that thing in your ear, you feel happy. Great example. Got a 14-year-old. She had listened to this crime thing, this whatever, and it was didn't have the explicit stuff on it. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. It's a story. It's like watching a movie.
Oh no, did it haunt her?
It did not haunt her, but she woke up one night and she had a bad dream and she was petrified. And we're like, no more.
Right.
And she's like, sounds good.
Yes.
So I say all that to say, and you said you're dealing with it now. The encouragement part is listen.
Yes.
Just like there's multiple guys. I mean, there are so many different people that talk about crazy things, that use horrible language, that talk about deplorable things out there.
Right.
If God is leading you to be an evangelist, an encourager, a positive vibe, this is the way he's doing it in 2023, 2024 and beyond.
That's right.
Because this is used for the devil in so many ways.
That's right.
And for those of y'all listening, I pointed the microphone. But it can also be used to build people up and make people feel good. And that's what God's calling you to do. And so step into it. And what someone's done is said, hey, in my terms is, hey, let's use what the devil has made, media and, being out there and look at me to, okay, how can we take this, elevate not so much you, but elevate you in order to proclaim whatever message that is.
Right. I also grew up with an incredible dad who taught me, like, you are like what you listen to, what you watch, and what you read. You will become that. And if I can offer something for people to listen to, watch, or read that is life-giving, then praise God that I'm able to help someone answer a question, meet them where they are or whatever. And I'm learning that now and realizing it's actually not humility that kept me from the front. It was pride. And you'd think, like, taking a back seat and wanting to be in the back seat, that's so humble of you. But I'm like, that's so great. So servant-hearted of you. I'm like, no, in the reality, the motivation for not being in the front seat or not being on stage with the microphone, if it was, you care about what people think about you, you don't want to be misunderstood, XYZ, it's a pride issue, not a humility issue. And so what does it look like for me to step aside from myself and be like, God, use me? And he's like, I'm trying. I'm trying to use you, show up. Right. I'm like, okay, so now we're at that point where I'm like, I'm ready. I want to do this excellently. And so they have said, you need to put your name in it. You need something a little bit less sticky than Behind the Bliss, a little bit more general. So Real Talk with Rach, Real Talk with Rachel Awtrey. That's where this came from. And it gives me more options. It gives me more opportunity to pivot when God calls me to pivot, because I'm not so stuck with where I am. Sure. And also my personal thing is it feels like an overflow of my life's ministry as it is. It's no longer Behind the Bliss is one pillar and then Rachel, my real life is over here. It is an overflow, an interwebbed ministry of being like, here's my motherhood journey, here's what I'm learning, and I'm just going to talk about it on the microphone too. So are you intertwining, and I hate to say this because I don't really think of you as this, but I kind of do. Sure. Are you intertwining the podcast part of who you are and the podcast job? It's a job. Yeah. With the social media, because there's a large portion of you that's influencer-esque, where you talk about things and people pay you to do stuff like that. So are you going to kind of make sure they're both on the same brand? I got you. They will all be married together. Yeah. And it's like, you can either watch the reel, listen to the whole episode, or you can read this post, but you're going to get something similar, but just in different ways. Some people are visual learners. Some people are auditory learners, so I'm just able to meet that girl, same message, different deliveries, and it feels right. Some people can't listen to an hour. No, I know. I used to be that girl. And some people like 60 seconds is fine, but what 60 seconds does is 60 seconds will get someone to listen. That's right. To the hour. That's right. So, okay. So let's talk about the journey of let's talk about income. Okay. Because that's something that everybody wants to talk about. They want to talk about money. They want to talk about what they're doing. Yes. How is this, super cute mom of two making money doing social media / podcasting. So how has that grown since the days of your person leaving? Wild. We used to be affiliate link driven. So like commission based. You'll see people link things online. Right. There's a unique link that tracks them back with different programs and platforms out there that would give them pennies to the dollar, like for purchasing something. They said a book or a top or something for your kid. Okay. We used to be strictly like affiliate driven. That was where a lot of our income was, which wasn't much. Again, like I said, pennies to the dollar. Well, it's really hard unless you have a gigantic platform. That's right. Gazillions of people are buying your stuff or other people's stuff through you. Because a lot of times there's not a huge markup on some of that stuff. Right. And a lot of times, like the item has to sell itself. You can try as hard as you want to. And if somebody doesn't want it, they don't want it. Yeah. That kind of thing. But now we have worked with specific companies and brands that we're very loyal to or that are very loyal to us. Yeah. And they will give us commission and be kind, but they are also paying for the space on podcast or on my blog or on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so that has been another form of revenue. We have apparel that we sell. So a lot of people love merchandise.
They do.
We aren't the kind of people you're going to walk around with our logo on our hat. That's not us. But we do really want to create comfortable, like practical clothing for people working from home, moms at home, athleisure type things, but that also have a message that remind you when you look at your shirt in the mirror, or when you look down at your sleeve, or when you're wearing a bracelet of something that's more important. And that's been really fun.
So you've got affiliate stuff.
Yep.
Affiliate stuff, for those who don't know, Rachel talks about a shirt, a book, or whatever. The link is in the link tree. The link is in the bio, whatever.
Right. On your
Go
stories.
click the link. Oh, this is so cute. You buy it. She gets, it costs you $25. She gets,
you don't pay any more to support me
you get
through
47
a link.
cents.
That's right.
I like, people think that it's spam. Like, it's
pennies.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
It adds up.
It does. It does. And if you get that, then you need to go do it.
Right.
If I see something like that, I try to do that all the time.
That's right.
Tim Ferriss is the king of this. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't tell you how much crap I've bought
from him
off of Tim Ferriss's five Bullet Friday newsletter.
Yep.
Don't even listen to the podcast.
Right.
But in his newsletter, he has something that promotes.
Yep.
I mean, so I've done that before, so I get it. And then sponsorships. Sponsorships is Pillsbury pays you to. I don't know if it's Pillsbury. I have no clue.
That'd be cool. Pillsbury,
I'm just
where you
saying
at?
something. Yeah. So Pillsbury says, "Hey, talk about our biscuits and make 3 things." And so you make something fun with your kids. I don't know.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
and then they pay me a check to say thank you.
Yep.
And hopefully it's long term. So we don't like to do the one-off things. We like to say we like, in order for this to actually convert, make sense for you, but also make sense for my time, let's work out some kind of 6-month, 12-month, 9-month, 3-month thing. And so that's been a new way we've approached things that has helped.
Okay. Here's my technical question.
Yep.
How do you go about, because I've seen this happen with other people. How do you go and still remain the girl that's talking about how her kids won't eat and mix in these Pillsbury biscuits are so good? Like, how do you not seem salesy when you sign a year contract with somebody selling whatever or sponsoring whatever? Because I have a hard time with that.
Me too. I'm also a consumer just as much as I'm a creator. I'm a consumer. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been like, I'm calling bull crap. You know what I mean? I'm
you
like,
don't
there's
use
no
this.
way.
Yeah.
And they're like, I love it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it still has a tag on it.
Exactly.
Like, stop talking.
Exactly.
I've been that girl. And so I will a lot of times say no. Like, I don't know how else to say.
Yeah.
I filter. I know my audience. I know me. I know when it feels icky, and I never want to make money off of something I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I think I've done that one time, and I had someone message me and be like, this doesn't work. And I'm like, I know, you know, and it just was an instant guilt. Like, I don't know someone's financial situation. And if I convinced you to spend extra money than you had budgeted that month on something that I told you needed, you didn't really actually need, like, that's on me. Like, I have to answer that, and I don't want to. Also, like, my time these days is so precious. Like I was saying, like, I have 2 boys, 2 kids. I work from home. Like, I do the nap time hustle right now. That's my season of life. And so if I'm going to do something, it's going to pay me well, and it's going to be something that I'm excited about. If I'm not excited about it, it's really hard for me to show up well. So it's typically these days going to be with, like, Lifeway women and their devotionals, things that make sense that I know are going to be theologically sound and life-giving for people. I love Lifeway. It's going to be with Stanley. Like, I love Stanley and have worked with them for years, and have a commission with them, but they also pay me sometimes for certain projects they have or campaigns that they'll have. And I'm like, I will use that anyways. Absolutely. Right. It's got to feel real.
Yeah.
And I think people can sense it when it's not too.
I agree with you. Okay, let's talk through this. So through this 5-year process, there's been a lot of life change. Husband become a pilot, takes him away, like he travels for his job, so he's gone a lot.
He's literally gone.
Yeah,
when he's gone, he's gone.
Yeah,
right.
2 kids.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yes.
How old are your kids now?
2.5 and 6 months.
Wow. So 2 kids. Tell me how life changed in that last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
From getting pregnant, having babies, now doing life with 2 babies. Tell me that process of like, how did you change from a work standpoint?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something. People don't understand this.
I know.
That when you are single and have a job and you're killing your job, you have so much freaking time.
I mean, you could stay up till midnight if you wanted to, and there's no consequence.
Absolutely. When you have a husband or a spouse and you have no kids, the time is still astronomical.
Yep.
But when you have a human, it is like you sit there and I tell people this all the time. You need to take advantage of the time you have when you don't have a kid to kill it.
Yeah. Set
and create
you up.
income and set yourself up.
Systems
to set yourself up.
Yep.
Because when you have the human, it is like something sucked off. It's like they took just multiple hours off your clock every day.
I know.
Not in a bad way, but just in a reality way.
Yes.
So tell me how you transitioned from I'm the girl that's doing influencing stuff, but also podcast. Now you got I got 2 kids.
Enter in outsourcing. That is why when I realized if I want to do what I want to do well and what I feel like I need to be doing well, it's going to look like asking people for help.
Yeah.
And whether that's help watch my kids so that I can go and be here and be present.
Yeah.
Or help with outsourcing this so that I can be with my kids and be present.
Sure.
And realizing I'm wearing a lot of hats. Jenna Kutcher, I don't know if you know. Yeah. She said this and I thought it was brilliant. She said, society expects moms to mom like they don't have a job, but to work like they don't have kids. And so how do you do that? How do you show up in a space and be fully present there when I have 2 kids at home with a babysitter right now and I don't know what's happening? Things could be falling apart.
No doubt.
And in the back of my mind, that's exactly what I'm thinking about, although I'm here. And so how do you contain what all life's thrown at you? And that looks like asking for help. And it also means you have to be intentional with what you're doing and it has to make sense and you have to have a why. Before, I think I showed up for the sake of showing up. Like I was saying earlier, I felt purposeless a bit and I needed something to do. So I just did it. Now it's like, I don't need something to do. I got stuff to do. I got stuff to show up for. But if this is what I'm called to do, I need to figure out how to do it well. And I've asked for help.
The hard part is about the statement that you said that Jenna said is people don't have that expectation of men. They don't have that expectation. I don't have that expectation.
Some don't.
No, I'm talking society in general, just the general people.
Sure.
Don't expect men to work like they don't have kids.
Right.
And parent like they don't have a job.
Right.
That's not an expectation.
Right.
But a lot of times it is an expectation. And that's not fair. And I'm not I'm not sexist or I'm not pro woman.
That's just kind of how the story has been.
It's just one of those things. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm just learning now what does it look like to ask for help and outsource and know and trust. This is part of it too, is that other people could probably do it better than me. And I got to be okay with that.
Well, I learned this a long time ago. And when I was coaching, Coach Amato taught us this. But Coach Bowden taught Coach Amato this. He said, you got to hire people that are better than you.
Yes. He
says, you need to know what's going on. He says, but my job is to hire an offensive coordinator that's better than me. My job is to hire a video guy that's better than me because there's some things that I do well, but I can't learn everything.
No.
And be successful and be a great parent and be a great spouse. I can't do it.
Right.
So we got to hire people that are better than us. And if we are the smartest person in the room,
you're doing it wrong.
We need to get in another freaking room.
Yep, exactly.
So, okay, I got a handful of questions and I want quick, concise answers.
Yeah.
And some of these you're going to know and some of these you're not going to know.
Okay.
What are you great at?
Ooh, I love that. I think I am great at connecting people, connecting good people with good people.
Hey, I can't help you. This person, I know Susie. Susie, meet Jennifer.
Part delegation, but part relational.
That's great. Okay. What are you working on right now to be a better human?
So I'm in counseling.
Okay.
I'll say it proudly.
Do it.
Nothing wrong with paying someone to sit on their couch and telling you about your
Yeah.
problems. And I think doing that hard work has freed me up and given me margin to be the best in a lot of different areas of my life.
As a business owner, what are your thoughts on having a personal brand?
I think it's extremely extremely important.
Why?
Because people these days are all about needing to know the person behind something, needing to know. There's there's a lot of makeup companies out there, a lot of them.
Yep.
And they're all making lipstick. But why do you choose to wear the one that you're wearing? Maybe because it's working well, but I'm kind of the girl, and I feel like there's a lot of my friends out there too that we purchase something because we believe in it a little bit more than the fact it works well. And that has become a big movement.
Yeah.
And so not that you need to like prove yourself or anything, but if there's a lot of catering companies, like why do they choose you?
Yeah.
It's because they know you. And I don't think personal brand looks like logo, website, business card. Personal brand is who you are and why you are the way you are. And so I think regardless if you have a logo, a color scheme, a font that you go to, it's not really like a personal brand the way I think people think personal brand. Everyone has a brand.
Yeah.
You're known for something. Brand equals legacy sort of thing.
Correct.
So I think, is it important to have a legacy? Absolutely.
Absolutely. What is a non-negotiable part of your day?
Ooh, that's so good. That is so good. First thing that came to my mind, which is funny, the thing I want to say is spending time with Jesus. Yes. Okay. But honestly, the first thing that came to my mind is like quality time with my boys. Okay. Like phone down, eyes up, get on the ground, play trucks.
You're not a fast texter backer.
I'm sorry.
No, that's great. No, I love that. No, I'm totally fine with that. Like,
I'm really not.
Like yesterday, I had from 8 o'clock to like 1:40. There was no phone time.
Yeah.
I mean, my team's texting me, my friend, like I got one text and this one guy's like, hey dude, pick up your phone.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get me on a call at a certain time and I need to commit to it. And I'm like, dude, I'm just come up for air.
Yeah.
And so that's great though.
I want them to get
totally
the best
fine.
of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want them to grow up with a Leave It to Beaver memory like I had.
Perfect. Business wise, where do you get your content ideas from? Because you're a one-man show now.
Yes.
I know you do some interviews.
Sure.
But like, where does that come from?
It feels very overflow-ish. So, for example, we have a show coming up that's like
word overflow-ish.
Overflow-ish. Yeah, it feels
I know what you mean.
authentic. It feels very yes. For example, we are in the thick of summertime as we're recording this, and I'm doing summertime with two littles, and we rely on a Mother's Day Out program that's not happening in the summertime. Yep. So it's up to me to find activities and make memories and adventures, and so we would love to record like a summer bucket list kind of play.
Sure.
Like what are things that you could do right now to make this summer one that you look back on and be like, that was one of my favorites.
True life stuff. Answering the questions that I'm asking myself. And it causes me to dig deeper for an answer that I'm really trying to find. I know other people want to. Anybody that does what we do, I want to encourage them. There's a guy named Nathan Barry. Have you heard of Nathan?
No. Tell me.
He's a wonderful human being. Nathan, I want to say he lives in Idaho. I think he lives in Boise. He started a company called ConvertKit.
Oh, I know ConvertKit.
Yeah, he owns it.
Wow.
But he has an article, and I'll send you this article. He has an article called The Content Flywheel.
Okay.
Rachel.
It's good.
It's so good.
Okay.
This guy is so authentic and so normal, and just he loves his family. He's a great human being. I don't even use ConvertKit, but he's such a good dude. And he's got this article, and for people like us, it is a must read, must digest, must practice.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. It's
Please
great.
do, yes.
So it just helps with creating ideas and creating things to talk about. Newsletter. Do you have a newsletter?
We do. We love it.
Tell me about it.
We have a newsletter. It goes out once every 2 weeks, and it is like a big Spark Notes overhaul. Like, here's what you missed podcast wise. Here's what you missed. I talked about Instagram being my favorite. Here's personally what I'm being encouraged by. It is like a love letter.
Good.
Yes.
Are you making any money on your newsletter yet?
Affiliate, link, commission, and then that's part of our sponsorship negotiation is being involved in that.
Where can someone subscribe to that?
Yes, you can text the word bestie, BESTIE, to the number 55444.
Say that again.
Bestie, BESTIE, to the number 55444.
That's awesome.
And it asks you some questions and signs you up because no one wants to have to click 3 links to get there.
No.
Not anymore.
That's great. Okay, perfect. All right, so before we wrap up, and here's what I want to do too.
Yeah.
I want you, after we ask these questions, I want you to ask me whatever, if you have questions. You may not have questions.
Yeah, I love it.
It's fine. Okay, so 5 questions that I think are fun. What's your go-to activity with your kids?
Oh, backyard, just like popsicles, backyard, super simple.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning about toddlerhood right now
Yeah.
is they just want to explore. They don't need an activity. Like get them bored and just supervise.
Right.
And the things that this kid does is hilarious.
That's so good.
Yeah. He calls baseball golf a thing right now. You mix baseball and golf and you better watch out.
That's right.
Those balls are flying.
Totally fine. That's right. My kids love. We bought like 2 Christmases ago. I spent like $7,000 and bought a side by side.
Okay.
Listen,
You love it?
they love it.
Yeah.
They walk in. There's probably 4 out of 7 days. Dad, can we ride the side by side? And all they want to do is ride.
I love that.
All they want to do is ride. Like my 7-year-old girl, who's extremely girly. She changes clothes 14 times a day. No exaggeration. And my son, who is rough and tumble, hunt, fish, football, basketball. He wants to. My 14-year-old, who's very girly but very athletic. She's a tall volleyball player.
Okay.
She just wants to go ride. So it is like, that's our thing.
That is so fun.
Like we did it last night at 7:30.
Yeah. Summertime is the best.
It is really the best.
It is so
good,
fun. Yeah.
Who is your favorite follow on any social media platform? The person, and I know you're going to probably piss people off because you didn't say them. Who is the person when they come up, you are excited to read their thing or watch their video? One. I only want one.
Am I allowed to look? Like typically
Yeah,
it's
do
like
it.
the person
Yeah.
that comes up first on my stories. Let's see who that is today. Cause I have several that I really love. Okay, I have one. Jess Connolly. Do you know who Jess Connolly is?
I may have heard that name before, but refresh me. And I'll tell
Okay,
you.
I have the privilege of knowing her personally just through some family stuff, but she is an author. She's a speaker. Her and her husband have a church in Charleston, South Carolina. And she wrote a book called Breaking Free from Body Shame. She's really all about like this whole like loving who you've been created to be movement. Wonderful. But she is so fun and colorful and she's got it like she's also very creative.
Yeah.
And the things she says and the way she presents them, I'm like, girl, yes, like anything, I'm on board. Jess, we love
awesome.
you. She's really cool. She also is a coach. So she does lots of coaching for women that have big dreams, like maybe even women listening to this. So go check it out. It's called Go and Tell Gals.
All right, we'll cut that too. What are you focused on learning right now? So like we talked about you being a better human.
Yes.
Doing counseling, talking to somebody, working through whatever. What are you learning? Like physically, I'm reading this book, I'm watching these videos, what are you learning right now?
Yes. A lot about being emotionally healthy. Sounds a lot more general than what it really is, but knowing I'm not going to get it right.
Yeah.
And being okay with not getting it right, but learning how to repair when I get it wrong.
It's like Apple. They want it perfect, but they also know that it's not going to be perfect.
That's right.
It's why they have so many freaking updates to your phone.
Yes.
And it's okay to put something out there that's not perfect.
That's good.
And so that's the analogy that I use.
Yes,
I mean,
it's good.
how many times do you have to update your laptop or your whatever?
Yeah,
So it's not
system
perfect.
reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and
getting the bugs out.
yes. And even like that looks like relationally in my marriage and in my kids' life, like getting impatient or snapping or being irritable, like being able to go to Maddox, my 2-year-old, who can kind of start understanding it and seeing it. And he's understanding reading emotion and being like, Mom was really impatient and I'm learning a lot about what it looks like to be a mom. Thanks for being patient with me.
That's awesome.
And knowing I'm not going to get it right. I'm not going to get it perfect. We try.
It's not going to happen.
God only knows.
Yeah. What is your favorite vacation that you've ever taken?
Oh, easy.
Oh, right.
So Dad
Okay.
lived life to the fullest, right? We started doing this thing right before he passed away, and I'm so grateful every day for it. I think about this trip once a day. I'm not even kidding. Like since he's passed away,
Oh my gosh.
once a day.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat.
They would basically wrap a book. It's National Geographic book, and I think it's 500 places to go before you die. And this one of our last trips we went on, they bookmarked a page, and it was Switzerland. And we went to Switzerland as a family, and we rode the trains, we did the hikes, we went into snow, we went into valleys, like we went and shopped, we ate great pizza, like. It was so fun. And I feel like one of those times where I look back and I'm like, I can't believe that was real. It was beautiful. I know that sounds super bougie, but
No. That is
listen, because we didn't get any other
Switzerland's
gifts.
fine. Like that's fine. That's cool. That's the least of my like joys and things. The thing I think the cool part is the book.
Yeah, they were like, okay,
bookmark,
no presents this year. Like going on adventures as a family is the only present we need. And we all were like, yeah, we all signed up for it. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Wow. And those are the memories I look back on now that I don't have my dad, and I think about the conversations we had on that hike. Or my brothers and my mom took a train back home. And my dad's like, do you want to do this hike with me? It's like 4 miles, but we got this. And I'm like, yeah, let's hike home together.
How old were you?
I was 16 when we went on this trip.
That's incredible. Man, what is the best vacation that you've never taken?
Oh, let's go. I want to go to Italy so bad.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I want the romance. I want the pasta. I want it all.
Yeah.
The question is, do you bring the kids or not? Because I want those experiences for them.
It's so hard, Rach.
But I also am like, gosh, a date night in Italy sounds fabulous. Yeah. So
I think that, so like we dealt with this probably 4 or 5 years ago. So we were very, very slow to leave our kids, like years.
Yeah.
And we got super intentional probably 4 or 5 years ago, with we take at least one trip a year.
Love that.
By ourselves. Our go-to is Mexico, because when we vacation,
like all inclusive, like don't want to worry about it.
Listen, I don't want to do nothing.
That's right.
We go hard enough while we're here.
That's right.
That I'm like, I don't want to go hiking.
Okay.
I don't want to go exploring.
No agenda.
No. I want to eat. I want to sit. I want to read. I want to be in the water. I don't want to wear a shirt. Like I just like, I don't want to do nothing. And so we are very intentional with that, because you need it. And it's so funny. We take it, and it's a weird time. We take it the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay. That's a great time to go to Mexico. No one's there.
No one's there. And the water's incredible.
Cool.
But it's also after. The fall's always busy. I don't care who you are.
Okay.
If you got kids.
Yeah.
Your kids are only 2.5. But when they start playing sports, because you got 2 boys.
I literally cannot even imagine. I have friends in that right now, and pick up the phone and she's in the car. And she pick up the phone, she's back in the car. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, it's true. It's real life. But listen, there's not many things better than watching your kids play sports.
That's so fun.
If you're into sports. Now, look, we are huge sports people. That's a part of our life, a part of our soul. So like, that's big for us. But the timing is perfect.
That's so cool.
Because no one really does anything the week before Thanksgiving, because they're getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And
sports are kind of winding down. So like, if we miss anything, it's not much. So it's great.
Whoa, that's so good to know.
Yeah. It's a great time. So, okay, last question, practical question, and I'll let you fire away at me. What's the best book that you've ever read? Can't say the Bible.
Ooh. Can I say 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 1 is one that I feel like I recommend all the time, which is why I'll say it was one of the best. They're both nonfiction. The first one is Power of a Praying Parent.
Yep.
They also have Power of a Praying Wife. They have Power of a Praying Husband. Like there's so many different. Stormy O'Martin.
Stormy,
yeah, is her name. Great series book. All the things. Whatever area of life you are in, you need to read that book.
Right.
So good. And then recently, I am obsessed with Sissy Goff and David Thomas. They have a podcast called Raising Boys and Girls. They are parenting gurus about just like cultivating healthy household. Okay. So good. And David wrote a book. So Sissy really deals with like the girls. She wrote a book called Raising Worry-Free Girls. But David Thomas has a book called Raising Emotionally Strong Boys. And it is fascinating about how men have been made, and like neurologically, anatomically, like what they need to thrive emotionally. And no wonder we have some very emotionally neglectful men in culture and society. Like, no wonder. And a lot of it's not rocket science, and it's just fascinating to read. So highly recommend that, parent or not. It's wonderful.
I have heard of them.
Yeah, they're great people. They're in Nashville.
That's wonderful. Okay, great.
And then, sorry, one more. Sorry. Jeffrey Bethke. Oh, shoot. Is it bad? I don't remember. Anyways, Jeff Bethke. He wrote a book called To Hell with the Hustle.
Okay.
And it's all about getting back to rhythms that don't feel forced.
Sure.
And just doing life as it is with your people, with your family, and doing things on purpose. And it is so good. It'll free you up. It'll call you out, step on your toes, but it'll also free you up.
I love things like that, because you have to have things like that to kind of bring you back into the reality of things. So
anyways, sorry, there's 3.
No, that's great. No, I love that. Because I think that people that are readers
Readers are leaders.
They are, but people that are readers are always looking for something that somebody recommends. Have you read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry?
It's very similar to Hell with the Hustle. Yes.
Have you read The Wealthy Gardener?
No. You're the second person in a month to recommend it. Okay, must read? Okay.
Must read.
We will read it. 400
and something pages.
Okay.
It's a cross between a parable and a guy telling a story. So I forgot the guy's name, but I've recommended this for years.
Okay.
It's the best book I've ever read.
Okay.
Hands down.
Will do.
Okay. But what he does is he's writing letters. He's a chiropractor. And his thing is building wealth / legacy wealth. But the book is based off of him writing emails back and forth to his college son.
Whoa.
And teaching him these things and these principles. And it's a parable about the wealthy gardener, but then he transitions into talking about him being a chiropractor and him transitioning in what he's actually doing.
Whoa, that's really cool.
Rach, it's so good.
I need to add that.
It is so good.
Y'all should see my nightstand though. It's so bad. I have like 7 books sitting there just waiting for me to read, and I just keep dusting around them.
Another question: are you hell bent on if I pick it up, I'm finishing it?
No.
Or you're not. Me neither.
No, especially with nonfiction books. It sounds so bad, but I'll be like, that doesn't apply to me, and I'll skip the chapter and I'll go to the next. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. It's okay.
So great.
I reread books too, and so I feel like if you're going to reread a book, you'll get something out of it anyways. So
that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's so funny.
We can bebop around.
So the first 6 months of the year, I read new stuff. The second 6 months, I'm rereading great stuff.
That's a really cool.
Alex Hormozy. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He is crazy. He is extremely wise. Can be extremely vulgar, but he's awesome. Okay. And he says, there's a lot of people out there to talk about how many books they've read. Let's get 10, 15, 20, 30 books that are unbelievable and are life-changing, and let's reread them and really learn those.
That's good.
And so we've been doing that. And Wealthy Gardener was one of them. Slight Edge was one of them.
Okay.
There are a handful of them that are just
so good.
Very impactful. So, but yeah. You have anything for me? Anything at all?
Yes. Here's what I'm really leaning into and learning or curious to learn. What is something you feel like you are learning as a dad right now that has really changed the game and you wish you would have known earlier?
It's easy.
Started it early.
All kids are not the same. We're having a hard time presently with our 7-year-old. And because my 14-year-old and my 11-year-old were raised a certain way by us, we have pivoted a little bit and raising this third one a different way. And I'm having a hard time with it.
Because they need it? They need it to be different?
I don't know if they're
or
needed.
You want it to
I don't
be
know
different?
if they've no. This is. I'll be honest with you. This is more wife driven than dad driven.
Okay. You got to trust that mama.
You do, and it's just so different. And I'm having a hard time with it. And she is very headstrong. Not my wife, the daughter. She's very headstrong. She's very verbal and very just like ostentatious. And so learning that the kids are all not the same.
Okay.
And you're going to have to, just like in coaching, you can't coach all kids the same. You can't treat all kids the same because they all have different needs, desires, and wants.
That's right.
You need to quickly figure out what your kids' love language is, what speaks to their soul, where do they want, how do they want to be loved, and how do they love?
Wow. That's good.
So figuring the 2 things out with your kids is extremely important, just as important it is with your spouse. So obviously, I would assume you've read 5 Love Languages or understand the book. It's the same thing with our kids. It's the same thing with all humans. I'm a toucher. Like I want to touch, I want to be touched. That's just who I am. Okay, not in a sexual way so much as just like
I get it.
That's just the
connection.
Yeah, it's a connection part for me. And so that's a part of who I am. That's a part of who my son is. If I'm sitting at my desk in the morning, all 3 of the kids will come up, sit on my lap, and just hang. And I love that. I love it. But some of them, my daughter is a gift, and like she buys stuff, and Tegan's like going to save my money, and like
no one touch it.
No, no one. But like the other day, I said, John. And here's what she did though. She saved up like $700. She's 14. She saved up $700 to take a trip to Colorado to see her friend.
Oh, that is so precious. She's quality time.
She is. But like Tegan, on the other hand, who's 11, I said something about, I don't really know how much the freaking kid got. I don't know how much she's got. So I said something the other day. I was like, "Are you sure you need to buy this, son?" He goes, "Yep." I go, "Well, how much money you got?" He goes, "I got plenty, Dad."
Worry about yourself.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm good.
You know how much money you have, Dad.
Yeah, sure.
I love it.
So the understanding your kids in those ways, I think is
that's so cool.
Is incredibly important. That
Yeah.
you can't raise them all the same.
Okay, that's good. We're seeing that now, even with a little 6-month-old, totally different baby. Oh. And like, and now that what I've learned from even just having a 2.5-year-old, again, not an expert, but just learning that like you can see his tendencies and personality even from those moments as a baby / infant. You're like, oh, this makes so much sense that you're like this now. And so now that we know that, we're applying it to our 6-month-old and being like, this will be interesting how this one plays out, you know?
There's also a huge correlation in the order that they were born. So there's a birth order book out there that talks about those different things.
What
Firstborn,
order?
secondborns.
What do you? Well, now you know. But what would you have known I was a firstborn female?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm firstborn.
I can tell that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But my son is a secondborn, which they say has a lot of, there's still leadership tendencies there, but it's just in a different way.
Sure.
Have you seen the Instagram videos or the TikTok videos where it's like first kid and it plays out? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Sounds good. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. And the second kid's like, yeah, whatever. And the third kid's like, not doing it.
Yeah.
Listen, it is our family.
That
it is our
so
family
funny.
all of them.
Yeah.
All of them fit. And so there was one of the day where it was a slow motion of this kid just jumping in this pool, just crazy. Mm-hmm. And the lady's voice behind the camera was like, let me tell you about that second born kid. They don't give a flying crap about anything.
That's right.
And I'm like, He doesn't.
Oh, this will be fun.
So
and I'm a straight up boy mom. I'm like, I don't even know what I would do if we had a girl. Like
you guys want to have other kids?
Mom. We would love more kids.
Good.
I mean, like not right now. Give me a break.
Give me a little bit.
But yeah. I don't know if you know this. Sorry, we're going there. But like I miscarried between our first and our second. So I literally have been pregnant for 3 years straight.
Yeah, you have.
I need a moment. I need a moment.
Okay, so I'm not going to tell this
Thomas,
guy's.
don't sneeze on me.
No doubt. I'm not going to tell you this guy's name, but you're going to die.
What?
So there's a guy that I met last week.
Okay.
And he's extremely known in this Birmingham community.
Okay.
And I'm getting to know him. I'm sitting down with breakfast with him. I'm talking. It's like, hey, tell me about your kids.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we got 2 8th graders and we go through here and whatever. What? It's like, oh, so you got twins? No.
Are they Irish twins?
Well, how far apart are they? He goes, 10 months.
No, that's my worst fear.
How is that freaking possible?
Oh, it's possible. I have friends like that too.
10 months?
Yes. Let's talk about how one of my friends, she has a son, 2. He's 2, and she just had just delivered her second pregnancy of twins. So she has 3, 2 and under.
Under 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
You go, girl. It's Emily who's helping me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Anything else for you?
That's
awesome.
This has been wonderful.
Hey, thank you so much. This has been great. I think that I know that you have been very encouraging to a lot of people out there.
Thanks.
Because there's been a lot of different things in your journey, but also being bold about wanting to be out there and share your message, because not in an arrogant way, but because it's what you're called to do. And so I think that's wonderful. And I really appreciate you. Where can someone find you? They have a question. Hey, tell me about so-and-so. Hey, I think you should have so-and-so on your, I don't know, anything. Where can someone find Rachel Awtrey?
Yeah, you can find me online at rachelawtrey.com, Awtrey.
Okay.
You can also join our newsletter, like we said earlier, texting bestie to 55444, or just email me at rachelawtrey.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks
awesome
for having
episode.
me.
Thank you so much, Rach.
Thanks for being here.
All right.